This week's video is brought to you by my upcoming manga Amaranth Angels. In a future where humanity is expanding into space, Sayane Shizawa is a starfighter pilot prodigy, flying alongside her big sister and their close friend. However, following a sudden tragedy, Saya only wants to run as far from a cockpit as she can. Fate, however, has other ideas. You can start reading the prologue, which details the events leading up to Saya's decision, on Webtoons now, and get subscribed to my Patreon to read ahead. If you enjoy Girls Und Panzer and the military mori genre in general, you'll love this too. God willing, it'll be coming to Kickstarter on August 22nd, and you can sign up now to be notified when it launches via a link in the description below. Now, on to the video. This time around, we're doing a double character analysis. This is both because Naomi and Alisa are fairly minor characters with limited screen time, and also because they form a sort of unit as the primary Saunders characters apart from Kay, and their positions as Kay's trusted, well, mostly trusted anyway, sub-commanders. So, it made sense to do them together. And while, as I mentioned, their screen time is fairly limited, they leave enough of an impression, and we get a good enough sense of them to do a proper analysis. As usual, here's your quick spoiler warning. To talk about these characters won't require much in the way of spoilers beyond episode 6, but I always like to be safe. As a brief side note, something I noticed while working on this video is that, for most of the secondary schools in Girls Und Panzer, we have a similar hierarchy and organization, for lack of a better term, when it comes to the characters. Specifically, in most cases we've got the one primary character, the school's commander, and then a couple of sub-commanders. For Saunders we've got Kay, then Naomi and Alisa, Anzio has Anchovy, then Carpaccio and Pepperoni, and Pravda, at least as of their film, has Katyusha, and then Nona and Clara. This isn't a one-size-fits-all thing, of course, as we've got more major St. Gloriana characters, and Chiatan really has 3 important sub-commanders under Nishi, while for Kuromorimine, it's really just the Maho and Erika show. This helps expand both the different schools and their commanders without forcing us to remember too many names, particularly during matches when we see the teams from their points of view. For Saunders in particular though, Naomi and Alisa, because of the differences between them, they serve well as case subordinates. You can almost compare them to the proverbial angel on one shoulder and devil on the other, though not in a direct sense, since one isn't good while the other is bad, obviously. With them, it's more that their very different personalities and approaches to Senshiro complement both each other and Kay to make Saunders, as a team, very well rounded and adaptable in a tactical sense. But let's take a closer look at each girl and see just what makes up these very different teammates. Naomi comes off as a very straightforward person. She's cool, calm, and collected. Very fitting that she's the team's sharpshooter in their most powerful tank. While she is a cold and calculating sniper in battle though, Naomi isn't an Ice Queen type of character or anything like that. While she is definitely more reserved than most, she's more than happy to smile when the moment calls for it. And, as competitive as she clearly is mid-match, her reaction after losing to Oroai says a lot. She immediately comes out of game mode there. All that tension at the end of the match is released, and so she simultaneously appreciates that, and the opportunity to relax, but there's also definitely an element of satisfaction from a well-played match, even if her team lost, similar to Kay in that respect. Alisa, on the other hand, is Naomi's opposite in many ways. Most fans of the show probably remember her for being the one behind the wiretapping incident in the Saunders vs. Oroai match, which she did without Kay's knowledge. And she gets memed on quite a bit over this. Rabbit Team even pokes at her about it in their film. And while yes, we could all agree that her action there wasn't exactly great sportsmanship, I don't think she deserves all the hate she gets. Remember, nothing she did was actually against the rules, and there is a big difference between actual cheating and just doing something that's seen as not a nice move and frowned upon by the community. This isn't a perfect comparison, but it reminds me a bit of some of the quote-unquote unwritten rules in Major League Baseball, like not excessively celebrating a home run and not swinging at a 3-0 pitch when your team is up by a lot. Neither of those things is against any rules, but many players will look down on you for doing so. In Alisa's case, though, her actions come from a place of intense competitiveness. She's the kind of girl who really wants to win, and gets easily frustrated. If she were a VTuber, you'd just know she'd be the type to beat up poor Deskun when she makes a mistake in getting over it or some other frustrating game.
And smile, then you should oft expectation fails. And most oft where most it promises.
Another downside of Alisa's extreme competitiveness is that it can set her on edge very easily, which, in the match against Oroai, led to her having a bit of a mental breakdown mid-match. Although, as we learned via her ranting, at least some of the stress that led to that breakdown came from outside of Senshiro, specifically her troublesome love life, or rather lack thereof. But as funny as it is to meme on this overly emotional girl, we are shown another side to her in their film. She's very happy to help Ori, both when it comes to saving their tanks, and in the big match, and treats the match just as seriously as she would one of her own, and with what appears to be a much cooler head than before, though the mysterious Takashi is still on her mind, and she's susceptible to Rabbit Team's teasing. Remember, she's the one who, while delivering Ori's tanks, said that the condition of the favor was that Ori continued practicing Senshiro. She wanted another crack at them. So, as competitive as Alisa may be, she still respects her peers, and enjoys the sport for its own sake too. Though, as any sports fan or sports participant will agree, it is always more fun to win. So don't judge her too harshly for a poor decision and a stress-induced, frustrated outburst. Naomi and Alisa also, as I mentioned briefly near the start of the video, serve as good counterparts for Kei, with each of them sort of representing a different aspect of Saunders' mindset as a Senshiro team, and they each kind of reflect a different stereotype of American soldiers. The cold, collected, effective, and professional operator, and the emotion-driven, hot-headed, impulsive type, both of which can be very effective in the right time and place, especially with a solid leader commanding them. Their presence in the dare film battle can be easily overlooked given everything else that's going on, but the entire Saunders squad did survive the battle until their run-in with their Bermuda buzzsaw near the end. So Naomi, Alisa, and of course Kei are clearly a very effective squad. Naomi and Alisa might not get a lot of time on screen. Their total combined screen time is probably less than 10 minutes in total, but we see enough of them to get a pretty good sense of who they are, and they make a strong impact on the audience. Effective subordinates, capable commanders, and lovers of Senshiro. If you enjoyed this video and like to support me in what I do here, check out the links to my books and light novels below in the description. The link to my Patreon is down there too. I've been sharing awesome updates, including completed pages, for an upcoming manga Amaranth Angels on there, and there are other rewards too. You could also read the entire prologue for free over on Webtoons. I've also got some cool merch over on TeePublic. And of course, if you have any thoughts on this video or just anything Girls Und Panzer related you'd like me to talk about, definitely share them below in the comments. I'd love to hear them, and do my best to read and try to eventually respond to as many comments as I can. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future uploads. That's all for now, so until next time.